everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Platinum, Palladium, Ruthenium and the other EM metals that I've forgotten about. They're all precious, they're all valuable, but are they good buys in the year of craziness that is 2020? Now we've seen some pretty low prices for silver, but of course the physical premiums on said silver often puts a lot of people off it. So there are other metals out there that people are looking to. Platinum, Palladium, Ruthenium, and as I said, many other types of metals. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the potential benefits for investing in physical platinum, palladium, and ruthenium, but mostly I'm going to be highlighting the negatives because whilst this stuff might look good on paper, and that's definitely going to play a factor in this video as well, talking about paper investing in these metals, they're not necessarily great to buy physically, and certainly platinum of the three is probably the safest, but at the same time still a really potentially volatile purchase to have. Now I want to put my usual caveat and warning in here to say that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube who likes to talk about shiny things. They're all my thoughts and opinions only. So any financial decisions that you make having watched today's video are yours and yours alone. Now I do own some platinum. I have 2 ounces of platinum here on the table. I've also got a platinum wedding ring. Don't own any palladium or ruthenium, and there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, I got into the market when those two metals started skyrocketing and I didn't really want to put any money in them. And also they're very, very hard metals to own physically and then look to release and sell on. My usual kind of message here on the channel is always think about your exit strategies. Always think about if you are going to commit some cash to buy pieces of metal, then always understand how you're going to sell those pieces of metal at the other end, because if you can't get your cash out of your investment, then you're not going to ever get any return on it. Now platinum, as I said, is probably the safest of those three to look to do, and physical platinum, in my opinion, is really the only way forward if you want to really have that kind of hedge, that protection. If you just want to kind of almost like gamble numbers on a screen, then of course paper versus physical is the argument to be made there. And paper platinum, paper ruthenium, paper palladium, they're definitely things to think about, but they're not very commonly traded paper commodities. You can't really see a great deal of ruthenium tracking funds or ruthenium share indexes and things like that. So it's an interesting one to try and look to invest in. But anyway, to the main metal of the day, which we're going to focus on, which is platinum. Now this does have some intrinsic links to palladium, which is arguably the metal that you should have bought 3 or 4 years ago. If you bought palladium at what was about £700 an ounce 3 years ago, at its peak just before the craziness of 2020 hit, it was worth over £2,300 an ounce. Not sure exactly what those dollar conversions are, but the point is you could have tripled your money in 3 years, which is obviously a wonderful thing. But again, palladium is an interesting one because it is intrinsically linked to platinum. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of people mistakenly link platinum with gold. And I think that's part of our culture throughout the last sort of 100 years or so. You know, platinum has always been seen as this metal, and as technology has been increasing over the last 100 years or so, and we've been able to produce and refine platinum better, it has been used more and more in things like jewelry, and I've of course got a platinum wedding ring there. And you know, you hear the phrase platinum album, platinum credit cards, they're all better than gold credit cards, and historically platinum was worth more than gold. And you know, you look at computer games, you look at old Dungeons and Dragons games, platinum was always the highest denomination metal or coin value item, but that is now no longer the case because platinum is worth, gosh, over half of what gold is worth nowadays. And that I think is a really interesting point, that it seems that gold has held better than platinum over time, and it's because gold is in a different class altogether. Platinum is very much an industrial metal. Gold is a monetary metal. Platinum has never been seen as a monetary metal. It's not been used as coins. It's been used throughout history, but it's often been used in its sort of almost like a nuisance concept. It was mined by accident because it's often found with these other metals. And it was often seen as the sort of what was it called, the small, and that's why it's called platinum. That is the from the word silver, plata, and it's just meant to be the small silver because it's so much more dense. In terms of density, here's a nice thing: you can see the density of platinum and gold together, and these coins are the same diameter, but they have different thicknesses, which is fascinating. So gold and platinum have often been linked in history, is I guess what I'm trying to say, certainly in our modern history. But in terms of what they actually should be linked, it's not really right. They're not both monetary metals. They're not both industrial metals. Gold is not an industrial metal. So that is sort of a misnomer right off the bat. But the metal that it is most intrinsically linked to, certainly in recent history, is palladium. Now, I don't have any physical palladium to share with you guys, unfortunately, just this platinum here on the table. But where that link comes from is industry, and primarily from the automotive industry, and that has been ultimately the reason why platinum has had its downfall. So platinum, traditionally, as I said, was worth more than gold, over $1,000 an ounce, and now, sadly, worth a lot less, around $800 an ounce right now. But relative to gold at $1,700 an ounce, that's low. And you should, if you go by those ratios, platinum should be $2,000 an ounce, similar to palladium right now, but it's not. And that's because diesel cars. Platinum is used in catalytic converters of diesel cars, and governments around the world have fallen out of favor with platinum. And palladium was the metal of choice for petrol cars. So that started going up and up and up and up and up. And so you can see there that that relationship between the two is intrinsically linked, and it's obviously not looking good for platinum for the rest of its lifetime, perhaps, because diesel cars are going to fall out of favour as we go throughout the rest of the next 20, 30 years, with governments banning them altogether over the course of the next 20 years to meet emissions targets. And where does that leave platinum? Well, it leaves platinum as a very cheap metal. And when you look at the fact that platinum, certainly relative to gold, is an incredibly rare commodity, it's mined about 10% of the volume of gold, it's harder to refine with its higher melting point, it arguably has better industrial applications. So over time, you've got to look at it like this. You suddenly have this commodity that's very cheap on the market right now, that perhaps is quite abundant on the market because the production's still been coming out the ground quite a lot, and it's got some uses. So it's cheap, it's got some uses, people might pick it up. And then you look at the other side of things, palladium. Palladium is very expensive, and perhaps platinum will have its day. Arguably that is possible, but only time will tell on that, and there are other pitfalls that you might want to consider before going all in on platinum. Now, one of the main pitfalls of platinum is the real restriction on which countries around the world actually produce this stuff, and it's coming out of primarily two countries, Russia and South Africa. Now, both of those countries arguably are relatively stable right now, but at the same time, they've both had pretty turbulent pasts and potentially turbulent futures ahead of them. And if one or both of those countries suddenly find themselves in a situation where they cannot or are not able to produce platinum in any kind of quantity at a decent price point, that could very much have an effect on platinum prices for the good. It could arguably restrict supply on the market. And again, if platinum is seen to be this metal that really is potentially cheap and viable for these industrial applications, then lower production, higher demand increases prices. So lots of things to factor in from that side of things. Now, where this all draws into for 2020, because that's the overarching topic, is platinum then a good buy for 2020? I'm going to say no. There's a few things at play here. The premiums on platinum are high. Taxes, certainly in the EU, perhaps from other countries around the world as well, mean that platinum is an unsustainable premium metal, and you really do have to rely on either achieving those premiums at the other end, which is fairly easy to do if you are lucky and you get in early on coins like the Lion here, which are very much popular on the market. Queen's Beast series being really good. Now you see here I've paid £839 for this, and spot price for platinum right now is about £630. So very, very high premium relative to that. But you know, that holds premium. So if you can get hold of something that would hold potential premium, then it's arguably a good buy to have. However, it's a very hard metal to sell, and this can be also extrapolated out to palladium and to ruthenium, which are even more so hard metals to actually sell at the other end. I've seen a few people on various platforms try and sell palladium. It's just so expensive. It's just almost overly expensive for what it is, and people are, of course, wary of there being fakes. It's not a particularly easy metal to test, and certainly if it's in a coin form, I guess that's slightly easier, but if it's in a bar form, even more difficult to sort of actually verify that it's real. So there's definitely pitfalls for the physical side of things. Now, where does that lead us in terms of paper? Now, of course, you could look to invest in these metals on paper. I would arguably say there, well, what's the point? You know, metals are meant to be about preservation of wealth. And if you're after these type of things as a turnaround profit item, then you need to look at them as a gamble, as a hedge, as a real kind of, you don't know where the price point's going to be. So just, if you are going to invest in platinum like I have, you know, I've got 2 coins here, 2 very different price points for two very different types of coins. I'm quite happy to hold on to these for as long as it might need to take until I can release those profits, if that's the choice I want to make. I'm not restricted by having those locked up here. That is just the way that I see it. If it's something that you can't think about yourself sustainably doing, then I would argue very much in favor of, you know what I'm going to say, everybody's favorite metal right now. It really is gold. This stuff will save you. This stuff is better than any of the other precious metals out there on the market. The liquidity is the key factor. It is the thing that will make everybody out there want it, buy it off you very quickly, save you if you need to have the cash come in. It's better just in every single way, I'm afraid. And that's the nuts and bolts of it. So for me, certainly for 2020 and onwards, I'm happy with my lot of 2 ounces of platinum. That is as much as I ever want to diversify into the market. And as much as the attractive price points might look, you need to always examine what might be happening out there. And whilst, yes, there are things I've presented in today's video that could arguably increase the value of platinum over time, its relationship to palladium, you know, there are going to be some really tough times ahead. And that's where I want to finish with this video. 2020, the crazy year that is certainly going to be with us for a while. Whether that's in the form of the quarantine that everybody's experiencing right now, or whether it extrapolates further into recessions, depressions, and financial instability over the course of the next couple of years. And I personally think that we're going to be seeing the effects of 2020 for at least a decade. I think there'll be some fallout from, you know, this crisis for many years to come. And that is going to have an impact on industry. That is going to have an impact on consumers buying cars. You know, are you going to buy that brand new car, or are you actually going to save some money and go down the street to the second-hand car dealership and buy the second-hand car for half the price? I definitely think that's a factor to play in, and that is, of course, going to play negatively into these other precious metals like platinum, palladium. So, yeah, from my perspective, I don't think they're good buys. I don't. I think gold is always going to be the better buy, unfortunately. It's a lot more of a volatile market, platinum and palladium. And I think it's interesting to see, if you look at the palladium charts in particular, from a high of about £2,400 an ounce to a low of £1,280 an ounce in the space of 2 weeks. I think says it all. You know, you're losing, what, 60% value? That's an awful lot to lose over a course of a couple of weeks. So that's my thoughts and opinions on platinum, ruthenium and palladium. Of course, we haven't really talked about ruthenium. You know, they're different beasts altogether, and perhaps they deserve their own video in their own right. But there are going to be a lot of people out there who are looking at the precious metals markets and seeing silver being low with high premiums, seeing platinum as a potentially real historical low with maybe not even as higher premiums, but, you know, risky. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section, what you think about platinum, palladium. Do you have any? Are you going to buy some? Do your opinions differ from mine? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's video, please put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. My usual shout out to all key workers and healthcare workers out there. Thank you for all of your hard work, keeping us healthy, safe and fed. As I always say, make sure you guys stay healthy and safe, stay at home, save lives. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.